Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back. We're excited that college football is upon us again, and I know our guys are really thrilled to be playing at home this first game against a really quality Cal Poly opponent that we almost played in 2016 in a playoff game, and so we are a little bit familiar with those guys and obviously familiar with the Big Sky. And so this week we're kind of in our final preparations and excited about the challenge, but also excited about being at home. So we'll open up for questions.
Did Holden stand out to say he's going to be the backup quarterback, or what did you see over the last week?
Yeah, Holden has earned that right to be the backup right now. We'll still continue to evaluate that position as we move forward with Noah and Trey, because they've done some really nice things. But I think Holden, over the overall body of work throughout the month of August, he's done a really nice job of managing the team and understanding our scheme and doing what is asked of him to be successful. And so he'll go into the game as the backup.
You guys have been pretty vocal about not necessarily expectations, but just excitement about Christian Watson. But Andy Boyan is the redshirt freshman on the depth chart here. What Andy showed you? Is Christian a little nicked up, or just a competition?
Yeah, that's the main part right now. Andy's done a great job, and Andy's gonna see some time on Saturday. But Christian hasn't practiced in about probably a week and a half now. We're hopeful this week that he can do some things. I think he'll be a game time decision. But for what we've done through the month of August, Andy's kind of earned that opportunity, and so we're still pushing Christian to see if he can play on Saturday. But if not, Andy will be ready to go.
Dimitri to running back, what went behind that?
It's kind of what he would like to do. It's what he originally came in as, and he and I have had some long discussions about it. And right now he's going to stay at that position and potentially save a year. Once again, we have 4 games, so we'll kind of see how that plays out. But it's what he and I have had long discussions, and it's something that he really wants the opportunity to try, and we're going to have a bunch of guys graduate here this year. So it's still a work in progress. He's still playing both positions at practice, but a guy that will be a week-to-week situation if he's playing.
Brought the redshirt possibility to you then?
Yeah, he and I visited about it.
Chris, how traditional is this triple option with Cal Poly, with Prothro now likely being healthy and ready to go?
Yeah, it's conventional triple option that we saw against Georgia Southern years past. It's a little different than Wofford. They're not in the shotgun as much, but they have the ability to be in the shotgun. And we've have a lot of tape over the last couple of years and have kind of gone through an awful lot of that. Obviously, the 16 tape helps us a little bit more with Prothro in there, although the fullback last year, I know had 1,000 yards and did a great job. So it's more conventional option that we have to have a great plan, because these guys run it really well.
Season they had last year, the injuries they had, all of that. Are you looking a lot more at 16?
Not from a schematic standpoint. Some personnel, you bet, because there was a number of guys that missed 17 that played in 16. There was a lot of guys that we were going to play in that playoff game in 16 that missed 17. And so from the personnel, yes, scheme-wise, they have not changed. And so you still have to stop the dive. You still have to stop the fullback no matter who's playing back there. And that's was proven out last year with their fullback having such a good season. And then you have to be able to stop the quarterback phase. And, we only had a handful of games on the quarterback last year before he was injured. And so, it's still, from an option standpoint, the fullback and the quarterback are the keys.
Play an option team game number 1 instead of, game number 10 or 11, just with the schematics and the scheme that's different than what you see week in and week out?
Well, it's probably helped us because we don't have 3 days to prepare for it. We took a little bit of time last week. We'll take a full week this week. So, in essence, we'll have more time. But in the same respect, it's difficult because we can't replicate that in practice. You just cannot get the speed of it. You cannot get how our blocking schemes of what we do offensive line compared to what they're doing offensive line are night and day. And so, just still, it's going to be us feeling out and getting a handle on the speed of the game early is my biggest concern there.
Is this a season where you feel like you kind of have 5 offensive linemen that you want to roll with a little bit more than last year, or will we see a rotation again?
I think we have more this year than we did last year, actually. I know that Cordell is going to play a bunch. I mean, he's one that I know is going to play. We have the 3 seniors, and then you throw Dylan Radens and Zach Johnson in there, and I think Kubas is going to have an opportunity to help us. I think Schoning's going to have an opportunity to help us. I like our depth there right now. So we need to play some guys early so that we can make sure and have that rotation if somebody does get nicked up. And the thing that I like about the offensive line is the versatility. A number of those guys that I mentioned are playing multiple spots.
Any specific true freshmen that you're looking to get playtime, whether it has to do with the new redshirt rule or not?
Well, there won't be any true freshmen right now in our 2 deep on defense, 1 in our 2 deep, potentially with Phoenix on offense. It kind of depends on some of our injuries there, but Phoenix is getting more snaps than anybody else as far as in the 2 deep. And then from a special team standpoint, I don't see anybody starting on the special teams. But we have a number of freshmen that are in that 2 deep that it just kind of depends. Do we need to give somebody a blow? Where's the game at? We'd like to see out there, but that's still a work in progress this week.
Have you had some kind of roadmap as to how you're going to use these 4 games for some of these guys? Have you any kind of idea of when you want to play them, how much? That stuff?
None whatsoever. None whatsoever. We're doing something different that we typically don't do. I mean, we typically don't dress our redshirted kids because our sideline is so crowded now. We have probably 8 to 12 guys that will dress that typically have not. And if the situation is right, we're going to play those guys. I can't tell you what type of game it's going to be, so I don't know when or where or if they will. But I know that there's a handful of guys that have stuck out to us that are going to dress these first 3 home games, and we'll see where we're at.
I understand you tapped Terry's mind across the river on option talk?
I did not. I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
What did you see out of Dallas Freeman in fall camp here that you like out of him?
He's understanding our playbook really well. He's become so much more confident. Easton has great trust in him. I've seen him make a number of really tough catches against Jalen, against Josh Hayes, against Marquise that I think it's a breakout season for Dallas. I've been really impressed with him. He has to have a big year meaning it could be 25 to 30 balls, but a lot of those could be on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 that he's going to make critical catches for us. But he has to have a big year for us to be successful, and I know he's excited about that, and I know he will.
How about Desmond? Stick with the wide receivers. What have you seen out of him?
He's done a really nice job. I think we have three guys there I'm really impressed with Dallas, Des, and Shep that been in the program for a while that are our top 3 guys without question. And then whether it's Andy or Christian or Jimmy or Phoenix or Trevor Height, we have a bunch of other guys that are continuing to improve that week to week we may play one more than the other. Just based on the game plan, but that's an area of depth that I am concerned about other than those top 3.
Go ahead.
Kind of odd to not see RJ out there. He's been such a, it's things move on, but he was a pretty big part of the program.
Yeah, and he's out there helping us out, which is great. You can't replace RJ. RJ's such a great football player, but he has 1 semester left to graduate, so it's great to have him out there coaching those young guys. With Coach Ray being new to our system, it's good to have an extra set of eyes out at practice, and everybody respects RJ so much. But no, he made play after play.
Pretty much all clear with the ACL crew from last year?
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody that a couple of guys will have knee braces on, but they're custom braces, and I haven't seen any ill effects. I think they're all full speed and ready to roll, and I'm excited to see a lot of those guys that missed, for the most part, a full year to get back. I know how important that is, and it was for Nick and Nate, and these guys are really hungry to play.
Chris, was this the healthiest fall camp, knock on wood, that you've had since taking over as head coach for the most part? There wasn't any major injuries, right?
That's a good question. I don't know. We still have had we have a couple guys that aren't going to play this first game due to injury. Still waiting on severity on a couple of them, but knock on wood, it still seems like the first 4 to 6 weeks, you always have one that you don't expect, and it happens. And last year we had our fair share in the first few weeks, and I'm hopeful that we get taken care of, and the guys are able to keep healthy.
You talked about the depth you have at defensive end. Is that even more beneficial going against the triple option?
you can't have enough defensive linemen against a triple option. You have to continue to rotate guys in, and we'll play at least 5 defensive ends, maybe even 6, and we'll play 4 defensive tackles at least, maybe 5, maybe upwards of 6. But we'll dress an awful lot of defensive linemen, and we'll keep rotating them in, because that's the whole idea of a triple option, is try to, they want explosive plays, don't get me wrong, but they want to be able to hold the ball for 15 plays in 9 minutes and wear you down. Well, we have to keep fresh bodies in there, and on the flip side, offensively, we need to be able to do that to keep that offense on the sideline.
Feel like you have that depth then, where you can keep fresh legs in there throughout the game?
We'll keep rotating them in all the time.
This might not be the week for it, but what does that 5th defensive back spot look like when you are going to use sub?
It would probably just keep Jalen Wimbush and or James Hendricks in the game. They're going to be kind of an or at free safety, and then Wimbush would move down to the nickel.
Can you address Jalen Wimbush off the field? I mean, here's a guy who's a published poet, and said poetry published and things like that.
Really great young man, and I remember him coming in the first day 4.5 years ago, and I think he was about 152 pounds, and to see what he's done with not only his body on the field, but what he's done off the field, and he's engaged. He's a really mature young man, great leader for our younger guys. Another one that came from Florida that never wanted to go home and loved it here, and he's a special person that is going to have a great future beyond football because of all the things that he's put himself out there. He's done a lot of things. I mean, he's not a guy that's just going to play football and get his education. He's going to do those as well as do a number of things in the community and continue to gain those valuable experiences for life.
Chris, can you describe the vibe around opening day, just how different that feels in opposed to week 4, week 5 when you're playing at home to start the year?
Well, everybody's just so excited because we've been practicing for so long and beating each other up that it's fun to get an opportunity to play somebody else in the same respect. We know we're going to have some young guys make some mistakes, and part of that is going to be anxiety and nervousness. But I know our crowd's going to be into it. I know our crowd's going to be electric. We need our crowd to be extremely loud. They're going to motion a lot on offense, and we need to try to make it difficult for those guys to motion on offense. So it'll be an electric atmosphere like it always is in the Fargodome. I think always those first games are exciting because it's been a long time since we've been hosting a game in the Fargodome, since last December, and I know how special it is for our players and how special it is for our fans.
The backup at both outside spots. Is it kind of a playbook blitz for him, making the position switch?
Well, in this particular game plan, you can play multiple spots, and so he's backing up both of those outside linebackers in our game plan against the option.
You imagine to see Jake Reinholz doing any kicking this weekend?
Well, we'll see. He's continuing to improve and get better. I want to see him with the lights on. Obviously, I don't want to take opportunities away from Cam that he's deserved and earned. But in the same respect, it would be more on a PAT or a field goal than it would be on a kickoff. Right now, I think we'd go with Cam or Wags as a kickoff guy.
You guys have had the benefit. You mentioned RJ. I know Fish has been back as well. You have these former players who continue to come back and help out and lend perspective. How valuable is that? And what's it kind of just, say about your program and the guys that you guys continue to bring here?
Well, this is a special place because everybody wants to come back, and they love coming back and interacting with their former teammates or the coaches on a different level, which is fun. But they want to see what the next crew is going to do, and they're excited to teach, and they're excited to educate those guys. Fish has come back and helped Ross Kennelly a bunch, and I think that's so valuable for those guys because they know they've done it on the biggest stage and had success. And so I'm always welcoming those guys back because of the influence they have on those guys, not only on the field, but more importantly, even off the field.
You gave Fish kind of a hard time when I called him an athlete who's down covering kicks. Is it kind of an advantage to have a kid you brought in as a linebacker to cover, and is Ross's time as a linebacker kind of done? No, not necessarily. He is faster and more athletic than Fish running down, and Fish would hate for me to say that, probably not believe it, but he is. In the same respect, we're trying to develop that second snapper so that we can use Ross a little bit more, whether it's as a backup linebacker or on some other special teams, because Ross could be really good on kickoff, really good on kick return, really good on punt defense, but I haven't developed that second snapper
to satisfy our needs to say, okay, Ross, you can do some other things. I think we will, and I think we'll see Ross on a few more things, but he's so valuable right now in short and long snapping.
Candidate then for second snap.
Probably be Spencer Wagey on short snaps and Matt Anderson on deep snaps. And they're both doing a good job. It's just that Ross is right now that much better, and we don't feel comfortable yet with those guys doing it in a game situation. But I think in time they will.
Chris, where does Brothrow rank in the guys that you've seen in the triple option? Where does he stand?
You know, he's an exceptional football player. He gets the tough yards. He can break a big play on you. He doesn't have the negative plays, and that's the hard thing about defending the option is you don't have very many negative plays. So even if you hold them to 3.5, they're still in what they want, third and manageable, third and 1, 2, or 3. And if they can get you in third 1 or 2 and 3, the advantage is to them. And so I think he's a guy that can carry the ball 40 times a game. Now, do they want him doing that? I don't know. He's coming off of a major injury, and they have a long season, just like we have a long season. And I'm sure they want to see some other guys, but in the same respect, he's their bell cow. He's the guy that is one of the top rushers. I don't care if you're a fullback or a tailback, whatever. He could be in the I formation and gain an awful lot of yards in our offense. I'm just so impressed with him because he's such a physical runner, as well as he has the ability to take it to the house anytime.
Chris, the fair catch rule on the kickoff now inside the 25, is that a good rule or?
Yeah, I think it's a good rule. I don't know how much it'll get used. I don't know, if somebody that can bang it out of the end zone is going to now pooch it more to see if people do. It's still a 25-yard return is a pretty good return if you can kick it to the goal line. Right now, our feeling is we're going to play it off as normal. We're not fair catching things at this point because I want the ball in Ty's hands. I want the ball in Bruce's hands. We have to do a tremendous job of blocking. Now, if there were a penalty after a point after or something, they're kicking it from midfield, I think you'd be silly not to use a fair catch. But I think it's hard to say if it's only outside the numbers and you got to count to 4, if the hang time's high enough, it's just let's let them play and let's see how we do with that rule because we may have to adjust. And I think everybody's looking at that the first 3 weeks.
You're saying if it's 4 or longer, you fair catch it?
You bet. We're not going to. We don't even think about that. We're trying to get our guys to return it, but that's where just it's just so hard to put that doubt into a kid's mind. Let's let these guys return it unless it's after a penalty for us right now.